Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 till 9 to help small businesses. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit's Quickbooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I'll reveal the results at the end. So the poll question is, are you confident about doing your own bookkeeping? So we've got yes, sometimes, or no. So hi, I'm Lucy Johnson. I'm a fully qualified accountant and the owner of Isle Bookkeep, a newly established bookkeeping and accountancy firm based on the Isle of Wight. I have over 6 years' experience working in both practice and in industry. At Own Bookkeep, we specialise in implementing paperless systems for our clients, with the mission to take the stress out of accounting and to help business owners like yourselves feel more in control of their finances. We help do our part for the planet as well by planting trees for every client that we onboard. So let's dive straight into it. What is bookkeeping? Well, bookkeeping is the recording of financial transactions. It's the day-to-day of what is actually taking place, the making sales and purchases. But why is it important? Well, it's really important that they're correct, they're up to date, and they're really comprehensive. They're really accurate. So now I'm going to take you through 8 steps for doing your own bookkeeping and things that you need to think about along the way. So the first thing that I always recommend to any business owner is to separate your personal and your business expenses. If your business records are intertwined with your personal records, you or your bookkeeper are going to take a long time to sift through those and separate the transactions for your accounts. It's really, really easy to separate your bank accounts for your business. So for sole traders, it's just a case of simply setting up a separate bank account and having one for your personal and one for your business. Also, it's free to do, so why not? For a limited company, you do have to pay, and it's slightly different. You need to have a business bank account under the company name and your own bank account, and these must be separated for legal purposes. So the company and the shareholder or directors must be completely separate. As I said, this is really important for legal reasons. The next point I'm going to talk about is double entry. So we use double entry in accounting, which basically means for every debit, you've got a credit. Also, the debits and the credits must equal. Every business transaction must involve at least 2 accounts, hence the debit and the credit. This is where both sides of the transaction are recorded. So for an example, if you pay a utility bill, this would be debit your utility expense to increase the expense, and it would be credit the bank to decrease your money or your assets within the business. The main point here is that everything balances within the accounting system. And this is why you may have heard your accountant use the words trial balance or balance sheet. You can see the balance, which we can dive into in another video, but that's just to give you a flavour of why we use those things. We've also in accounting got what's known as the cash basis and the accruals basis. So let's dive into it. With the cash basis, you are accounting for transaction when the money actually comes into you and when it actually goes out. The accruals basis, in simple terms, books the transactions when they are actually earned or incurred. So if you invoice a customer in February, and you aren't paid until May, with cash accounting, you're recognising that in May. Whereas with accruals accounting, you would recognise that in February, when you've actually invoiced the customer. This works with invoices you receive in too. So even if you've not paid yet, the invoice will be accrued in that year. The accrual system is commonly used because it gives you a really clear view of how your business is performing. Whereas the cash basis, you don't get to see that as well, as your income and your expenses can fall on different months, so it's not as accurate. The cash basis is mainly only used for really, really small businesses, and you can't change from one to another regularly. So you need to make a decision whether you're using cash accounting or accruals accounting. The next point I'm going to go on to is choosing your bookkeeping system. So there are loads of different bookkeeping softwares out there. You can do your own research on that. But there are also softwares which will link really nicely in with your accounting software. So, basically, we want your systems to feed in automatically. You can also use things such as bank feeds on your software, which is really helpful, and it can give your accountant real-time information straight from your bank. If you have software to produce things such as your invoices currently, these can feed into the accounting software that you're using, meaning that you don't need to change your own business processes to fit in with the accounting software, which I know is a really big thing for a lot of businesses. Categorizing your transactions. So this is a massive part, because where you code your transactions is pretty much the basis of a good bookkeeper. It's all about coding things to the correct places so that they can be accounted for correctly, right? Every code will be used in a different way, and it's subcoded in the background. So it's either an asset, an expense, a liability, equity, overhead, direct cost, etc. These all are accounted for so differently. So you need to check that you're coding them to the correct place. And these all form part of what you've probably heard as the general ledger or the chart of accounts. It's so great to be able to code in real time as you go, rather than coming back to an old receipt a year later and trying to work out what you've bought. That will take me on to our point later, but yeah. Organising and storing documents. So organisation of documents is really, really important. The last thing you want to be doing at the end, at your year end, is going through a whole year's worth of files and sometimes losing receipts or invoices completely. I know what it's like. With online cloud systems, they're great. They mean that you can keep the last 6 years worth of documents that we need to legally keep on the cloud. You don't need to keep them in your house or in your business premises. Electronic files can be kept really, really securely nowadays, and they can be sent straight into the accounting system in real time, which can keep things ridiculously accurate. And it's also worth noting, just on that point, that HMRC do accept soft copies, so you can get rid of all the paper so long as it's in the cloud. Making it a habit. So it's really important to do these things little and often in your system. I always say little and often, because you're keeping on top of things. You can have bank feeds working automatically to give your accountant that real-time data straight into the accounting software. Then all you do is simply forward on your invoices to the accounting software of your choice to take a photo, or even take a photo of with your phone directly, snap it when you're at the post office, and it will come directly to your accountant. This way, you're doing little and often, and when it comes to the end of the year, your accountant is able to work a lot quicker because you've done it throughout the year instead of a year's work. So in our accountancy practice, we complete this throughout the year for the client. So submissions are complete as soon as possible. and we can really get ahead of the game. We know when taxes are due, and we know months in advance, what the bill is for those taxes. So the final point I'm going to leave you on is the question, do it yourself or get an accountant to do it? Well, the biggest advantage of doing your bookkeeping yourself is that you could save money by not paying a professional bookkeeper or accountant to do the work for you, right? Great. I would, however, advise to work with an accountant for the most accurate data and for you to be able to work on the things that you do the best, your trade. It gives you that time, and you really would notice if you gave up that time to an accountant. You can focus on what you do best. Working with an accountant can also bring massive tax efficiencies and things like that. And for me, it's really about peace of mind that your accountant, he doesn't need to come in, or she, sorry, doesn't need to come in and rectify any errors being made. The most important thing for me is that my clients have peace of mind and the ongoing support as well, being able to pick up the phone and ask questions such as, a pandemic's just happened, can you help? So I'm going to leave you with that now, and we're going to go into the Q&A. But I hope this has been really informative for you, and you can reach out if you have any questions at the end of the show. If you think of anything, you can contact me. I'll give you the details in a little bit. And now I'll go on to answer some of your great questions. So let's see. So have a look. We've got quite a few questions coming in. Okay, so Faithful on YouTube has said, looking into getting QuickBooks for our small business, will I still need an accountant? Do I need to pay them to do my tax return? Well, Faithful, it's completely up to you, basically. You can get an accountant to do bookkeeping, your accounts and your tax return. However, you can do it yourself, as I've mentioned in the talk today. So it could be that you want to do your own bookkeeping and then get your accountant to do your returns. Equally, you can do your returns yourself. It's not impossible. If you know what you're doing, you know the correct boxes, and I would normally recommend that for a very small business. But it completely depends. As from what I've spoken about, it depends whether you want to focus on what you're doing, and it also depends on how confident you're feeling with it, which I'm sure we'll find out from the poll results in a little while. Morning, Lucy. As a freelance consultant, how much record keeping is necessary for someone like me? Any tips? So that was Izzy on Instagram DMs. So a freelance consultant, how much record keeping is necessary? Well, we need to keep basic records. We need to keep invoices and receipts going both in and out of the business. So we need to, basically, you need to keep everything that records the transactions that are necessary. We also need bank statements, which is really important, as I've explained about bank feeds. So they're really important to keep so that we can do reconciliations of your accounts. So yeah, it's basically as much as you have. Let's go on to the next question. Okay, so Ben on Facebook Messenger has said, I've been doing my accounting myself for 2 years, but I'm about to hire an accountant. Do you have any advice on how to tidy up my accounts before I hand it over? I'm worried it's a bit all over the place. So we get this a lot, Ben. You do have clients who are all over the place, and that is completely fine. This will be just where your accountant basically needs maybe a little bit more information from you. They may request more details from you, but also it depends whether they're taking on the full kind of tidy up of your accounts and your bookkeeping. So if you if you want to do your own bookkeeping, you can, and that's no problem at all. I would suggest going through all your records. You could put it on a spreadsheet. You could put them just kind of neatly for now. You could scan them in and have them all electronically. But it will really be a case of you speaking with your accountant and what would be the best way going forward. Do they work remotely? Are you able to send it across? Do they have systems where you can send things electronically and keep them on a cloud, on the cloud? So yeah, it's really a conversation that you need to have with your accountant, with how they work and how you can work well together and what services they're taking on for you. Right, let's read some of the next ones. Meshad, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, on YouTube has said, how can I do remote bookkeeping? This is a brilliant question. So we work mainly remotely now with all of our clients. So basically, this involves all of the records coming in digitally. If they're already paper-based, we ask our clients to either scan them in or take photos on their phone on an app. There are loads of apps out there. Lots of different ones work with different accounting softwares, so have a look into that. As well, nowadays with these apps, you get an email address which you can send any invoices you have to the email address just simply from your emails. You can also set up forwarding rules. You can set up accounts that, you know, if you've got an eBay account, it's going to automatically take all the eBay invoices directly from your account. You don't have to do anything. It does it all in the background. So there's loads of ways of working remotely. And as I discussed as well, bank feeds, they're great because it's all coming in automatically from your bank. You've given us permission to see your bank statements automatically. So it's all remote. So yeah, that's the best way I'd say there for Mashrad. Right, let's have a look. Okay, let's read this one. Holly on Facebook Messenger. Now that restrictions have been lifted for a while, have you noticed any common trends with your clients as they've transitioned back to normal? What sort of issues are they facing that we should be aware of? Okay, so basically everyone's going through different things. They've all got a lot of them have got the grants coming through, got different HMRC payments. Some people are doing really well from the pandemic and others are doing really badly, as I'm sure you can appreciate. There's a real difference of that type of thing. We've also noticed a lot of clients much more willing to go paperless because they've really realised that during the pandemic, a lot of things did go online, didn't they? So where they've gone online a lot more, there's not really as much resistance in that aspect. So you'll find that clients now do things a lot more digitally. But yeah, you do find businesses having to close, unfortunately. We do, you know, there are businesses suffering a lot more, but most of the issues that they're facing, it's all about getting back to normality, opening up again, and it's just about supporting our clients as best we can through that. And we find that we have a really hands-on approach with our clients, and basically with that really hands-on approach, we can kind of customize the service that they have and the level of support, I guess, we need to give them in getting back set up again. Okay, let's read another one. So Gareth on Twitter DMs, how do I create tax forms for my employees and contractors? Can I do this within QuickBooks? Okay, so this is, I'm not going to answer this 100% because I would rather a QuickBooks specialist look at that for you. But basically, When you're talking about contractors, you're going to need CIS forms, and you're going to need, you say for your employees as well, that's going to be through payroll. So you should be, you should be able to do that through QuickBooks. You definitely will be able to, but I'm going to direct you to QuickBooks. I will get them to reach out to you, Gareth, and basically explain that a little bit more, and how, because you've got quite a lot going on there, so how exactly that will affect you. Oh, we've got a few more coming in. Okay, so Amina on Instagram DM'd, what should we do with unreconciled bank accounts? Oh, I've nearly lost it. What should I do with unreconciled bank accounts for previous year's expenses? We pay for something in check, but that check hasn't been cashed for over 6 months. Okay, so unreconciled amounts for the previous year's expenses. I would say where it's a check that hasn't been cashed, I should do. Yeah, okay, so what I'll do, if you reach out to me, Amina, I will explain this to you, because there's a few things you need to be doing with the bank accounts there. And I'll go through that after the call. I'm sure I can help you. That's no problem. What's this one say? So, Tabasto on YouTube. I have a payout I want to record. It's airtime. What should I go to record it? What should I do to record it? I'm assuming that is. And what should I write on the PAYE box? And fuel as well, please. Okay, so with fuel, you're going to want to put that as either motor expenses or create a separate one for fuel. With a payout you want to record, it's airtime. So airtime, I'm assuming, I don't know what you mean by that, to be quite honest. And what should I write in the PAYE box? That's another one. Unless I see it, it's really hard to kind of be able to tell you exactly, and I don't want to advise you wrong. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be able to talk you through it and have a look at your records. Okay. Let's have a look, see if there's any more questions. Oh my goodness, there's loads. Where to begin? Right. Beverly on Twitter DMs. Hey Lucy, I run a small manufacturing business and we are in the process of migrating all of our paperwork to the cloud. What do I need to look out for? That's brilliant. That's fantastic for a start. It is a big process moving from a paper-based system all the way to a cloud system. So with a manufacturing business, one of the first things that you're going to need to look out for, basically making sure nothing is missed. It's really important. I can't stress enough how easy it is to miss things. When you're moving from system to system, it's going to be easy to lose things anyway. But also, the whole point of us going on cloud, yes, you've got all the storage and, you know, all sorts of benefits. But the one thing that I would really stress is that you're more likely not to lose things. So it is one of those situations when you're in the post office, you've got one of those receipts, you're going to always lose those receipts. You take a snapshot of it. And I think with this business, it's exactly the same. It's about having your processes set out. How are you going to go forward with them in a paperless way? And now, what can you do to catch that extra data? So basically, I would just, if you're actually migrating everything, you need to choose a date. In my eyes, I would say choose a date, everything paperless up to that date, and this is where we're starting from. And from there, you can make a decision with going forward, you know, that's all paperless. So yeah, that's my advice. Right, let's go on to the next one. Julia on Instagram DMs. Hi Lucy, I'm just starting out on my freelancing journey and was wondering the best way to cost or price for my services. I want to be affordable for my clients, but still make enough to survive. Any advice? Okay, so this is a really, really good question. And congratulations for starting out on your freelance journey, by the way. I started my business 4 months ago. So it's really, really new. And it's a really exciting journey. So enjoy the first process. The best way to price, now, let's be honest, at first, you're going to make mistakes. People do price incorrectly, and you need to really look into your field, look at what other people are doing and how they're doing it, basically. How much do they charge? What's your USP? Is there anything that you can say, I'm premium, so I'm charging X amount? What is your USP? So that's a good place to start. Also look at your niche. So what do those people in that particular niche want? So it may be that they are very price sensitive, and it may also be that they're not worried about price. If you're a specialist in that area, they're more likely to pay higher. I would always go back to, this is my last question, so let's just answer this. I would always go back to, how much money do I want to make? Take it back, start on that. Right, how many now do I need to be able to make that? Once you've worked that out, you can work out how much you need to price for. You can also find out, okay, they charge X amount. Based on that, I'm a little bit more premium. I'm going to charge X amount, and then work backwards from there. It's a really personal thing, costs, and it's not my expertise to tell you how much to price your services for, because at the end of the day, they are yours, and you do need to make them affordable for clients. So I hope that's enough. I need to go on to the next part, but here's the exciting part, the poll. The poll results are in. So we asked you, are you confident about doing your own bookkeeping? 80% of you said yes, which is fantastic. 20% of you said sometimes, and 0% answered no. So that's fantastic. See, from everything that I've gone through, you're feeling like you've got a little bit more, 80% of you are feeling happy with that, which is brilliant. Okay. So it's the final part for me to say thank you all so much for tuning in this morning. It's been brilliant. If you want to contact me, feel free to DM me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Isle Bookkeep, so for the Isle of Wight, Isle Bookkeep, and find out more about my business at www.ilebook-keep.co.uk, where you can also book in a free call with me if you want to chat about anything we've discussed today. Coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday is Johan Gorey, Managing Director of On Point Accounting Group. Tune in for business advice and learn about the latest tools that will make your bookkeeping easier. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit's QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering all of your questions this morning. Have a great day. Bye.